I'd like to introduce Valentina. Valentina works with APL Italiana. She works with Ralph Reidiger in the part of the company that deals with the structure of SOFIA. Valentina's been working with APL Italiana for 2 years, and she's been programming for 1 year. She's a relative newbie, but she's a programmer. Valentina.
Thank you. Okay. It's work? Okay. I will talk about applying version 13.2 GUI feature to SOFIA, which is the financial software produced by APL Italiana. And this, no. And okay. This will be the structure of my talk. The main subject will be the new SOFIA graphical user interface. And I will start briefly explaining the motivation behind the decision of renew our GUI, and then I will describe the guidelines of the work we did, and in particular the fact that we decided of using only Dyalog tools. That means no WPF or .NET or C# were used. And after this short introduction, I will show you some example of what we did, focusing on the benefits and the problems that we found during the implementation. Okay, so, no, sorry. Okay, so the first point are the motivations, and let's start from the beginning, or at least from my beginning. I was hired by APL Italiana 2 years ago, in 2011, and at the time, SOFIA was like this, which is, okay. And just to put it in the right context, at the same year, other softwares like, for example, Access was like this, or Photoshop like this, while SOFIA like this. That means beautiful, but a little bit hostile compared with the other software, contemporary softwares. And in fact, the main reason why we decided to renew our graphical user interface is an aesthetical reason. In fact, the previous SOFIA GUI was released in 1997. And of course, during the years, a lot of improvement have been made. But mainly, we can say that our interface didn't change since 1997. And that made SOFIA not very attractive, especially to new users. And moreover, in the very last few years, with the spread of new technologies like tablets and smartphones, also the human-computer interaction and in general the technology usability deeply changed. In fact, now the modern interfaces have to be much more visual and touchscreen friendly, and also the utilization of space and windows due to the smaller size of the screen of the new devices has to be much more basic and clear and as possible. So for all these reasons, we decided to renew our graphical user interface. But how to do it? The main problem in planning the work needed for the new GUI was the fact that SOFIA is a financial software. And that means that on one end, our developers have to work on the financial modeling. And so the work needed for the new GUI couldn't affect their work. And on the other hand, similarly, also our customers need continuity in their job, in their workflow. And so, for all these reasons, the point is that we have to change SOFIA as much as possible, but without really changing it. That means change the look, but not the structure of the software. And for this reason, we decided to use only Dyalog tools without other external languages, and without rebuilding any windows, or that means without changing the existing code too much, at least. Okay. And now I want to show you some example of what we did. And the very first step for the new GUI was the activation of the native look and feel, which is essentially a parameter in the dialog settings. And this simple step, thanks to this simple step, we could change the look from the one on the top to the one below, which is not the new GUI, but it's just Sofia, the old GUI with the native look and feel here in the bottom. And this screenshot is with Windows 7, and with this simple step, for example, now we have smoother columns and rows headers, and for example, newer flag, smoother buttons, and that means with this simple step we obtain a much more modern look, just with the native look and feel. And this was possible since the version 13.2. With the version 13.2, the Windows native look and feel was extended to almost all the graphical tools, and so we could activate the native look and feel and still keep an homogeneous look for the software. And the main problem in this step was that we found some problems. For example, the position of groups without caption changed with the native look and feel. And these are two screenshots. The one on the top is before the native look and feel, and the one below with the native look and feel. And in the right side, we have two groups with captions, and in the left side, two groups without caption. And as you can see, the line around the groups are at the same level here and here. And this is without the native look and feel. Activating the native look and feel, now the line around the groups without caption is lower, and we have these gaps here, and also here, if you are in the other side. Okay, and so to overcome this problem, clearly we couldn't go and change every such windows and change the position, manually change all the positions. So we build a function that runs at the opening of every window and checks if there are some groups without caption, and in this case changes the position and the size of these groups, and also the position of the inner elements, and in runtime. Another problem we found with the activation of the native look and feel is the fact that now empty labels take up space. And these are other two screenshots. Here in the right column, we have a checkbox with labels on the right, and in the left column we have checkbox without label or with empty labels in the left. And before, okay, everything was okay. With the native look and feel, the empty labels and the line around the group overlap. So now the line is covered, and we have, for example, these gaps here and here. And okay. And the second step in the renewal of our GUI was the renew of our toolbar, and in general of all the icons and color of the software. And clearly this is just a graphical step, but it was possible thanks to the fact that the version 13.2 came with a lot of graphical improvements, for example, grid enhancements, or different sizes for icon objects, and or extended mask property, and so on. And thanks to this graphical improvement, we could play with icons and colors with much more freedom. And in this way, we changed our toolbar from the one on the top to the one on the bottom. It's beautiful. Thank you. But we use 16 and 32-bit icons and bitmaps with mask property, and in general much more shades of colors. And the third step for the new GUI was essentially, okay, let's read the version 13.2 release notes and find what we can use in our software. And for example, we will use a lot of the new features. And for example, we use the new SysTrayBalloon to change our notification balloon. Before, we had this notification balloon here, which is an hand-made balloon linked to the old toolbar. And now we could we replace this balloon with the new one, which is the one in the bottom. And in this way, now our notifications are integrated with the other system notifications, giving a much more coherent appearance to the software. And it was possible thanks to the introduction with version 13.2 of the show balloon tip method for the SysTrayItem object. And the main problem in this step was a problem of focus interference. In fact, we discovered that the SysTrayItem events, balloon show, balloon hide, and balloon timeout, take the focus. That means that just defining one among them, one event among them, and even if the related callback function is empty, does nothing at all, just in this way, the balloon takes the focus when shown, interrupting, for example, a possible input. And this is particularly bothering if you're writing something and then the balloon pop up. And so for this reason, we couldn't use these standard events, but we had to find a way to manage the balloon by hand. So the last step for the new GUI actually is not really related with the dialog features, but it was really important for our new GUI, and it was the decision to stop using the MDI, the multiple document interface. And this because Sofia, before, even if using the MDI, usually had only one active window at a time. And so there were no pros in continuing using the MDI, but instead there are some cons. Because in Sofia, usually you from a screen, from a window, you can open other windows and so on in cascade. For example, this is an example of a classical situation in Sofia. You are in a grid. From this grid, you can go inside each row and opening another window, which is in this case is a tab object with another grid. And you can go inside any row in this grid, opening another window, and from this window opening, for example, a list that can also go outside the main application window. And in this way, we have a lot of windows, the coexistence of a lot of windows, where actually only the last one is really active. This is chaotic, let me say, and also especially if you are using small screen devices. And so we decided to change the organization of all our windows, and we decided to maximize all the main window, leaving small only the utility window. And so the same situation now is the following: we are in a grid, and which is maximized, and then the following grid is still maximized, and from the grid we can open another maximized window, and now for example the input the list is fixed to be inside the main application window, and in this way we obtain a much more clear and logical interface. And the main problem in this step was the fact that before, with the MDI, all the events and the focuses were managed by the MDI itself, while now we have to do it by hand. And we discovered, for example, a focus malfunctioning, which is actually not a dialog problem, but Windows. It's a Windows side problem. It's the following. When you click with the mouse on an unmaximized window with the title bar, no got focus event is reported. That means, for example, that you cannot select a section of the text with the mouse. And so we have to find a way to force the got focus event. But by the way, without using the MDI, we gain a big benefit in terms of Windows management. Since, as I said, we now can have a much more logical Windows organization, and also since the main application window is not the MDI client anymore, but it's just a form, we can also use splitter objects on it and playing, so we could play with the splitters with much more freedom. And for example, we changed our old menu, which is here, which is a button menu, with the new one, which is a rollaway menu, obtained with a vertical splitter here. And also, since, as I said, the main application window is not the MDI client, we can also use it with the icons and shortcuts and so on. It actually is not done at the moment, but it's on our to-do list, the potential use of the desktop. And actually, maybe I'm short. I want to conclude emphasizing that all the work did for the new GUI had a very little effect on the code. So, in fact, we can switch from the old GUI to the new one, simply properly setting two variables. And as I try to show you now. Okay. Okay. This is Sofia with the old GUI and just the native look and feel activate, but without any other feature of the new GUI. And if we close it, okay, and okay, run this function here that I made for the conference, in which we set just two variables in the first line, and then the other 4 lines are just to change the directory of the bitmaps and rebuild all the bitmaps, because they need to be rebuilt, and change the colors. The function bitmap init rebuild all the bitmaps, and the other function changed the color. And just with this, we can re-enter in Sofia. Okay, and that's it with the new GUI. And this. Oh, maybe it's shy. It's working it. Okay. And then this is the classical grid in Sofia and so on. For this start the new menu and so on. Okay. And I don't know what time is it, but okay. And that's it. Okay. Question? Okay.
You talked about MDI versus SDI. That's a topic of interest to me. Okay. One of the things that I found very useful, and it's in the Dyalog interface as well, the Dyalog interpreter, is that you can actually have an MDI as part of an SDI. one of the windows is a multiple document interface, one of the panels, and the remainder is a single document interface. Okay. For example, the editor.
Okay, yeah.
You can open up multiple windows. It's a multiple document interface, but it's embedded inside a single document interface.
Okay.
And it's also dockable, so you can remove that.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of interface is really very powerful, where you get the best of both worlds, and so something to consider.
Okay, thank you. We will consider.
So you mentioned earlier that one of the motivations for the design was the new form factors like tablets and phones. Have you made progress in that? Are they touch friendly and all of that yet, or is that sort of still future work?
No, it's on the to-do list.
Okay.
Okay. So Valentina, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.